Welcome back to From Nine to Mom, where we discuss balancing the 9 to 5 hustle with the beautiful chaos we call motherhood.
And today we're going to be talking about, I feel like something very sensitive and controversial, maybe even.
Yeah, I would
But
say so.
talking about the term working mom, and does it bug us? Does it not? What do people think about that term? And I think we kind of went through this because we got our first hate comment.
Yeah, I like to say
Controversial.
constructive feedback, a piece of constructive feedback, as we would say at work. But yeah, our first controversial moment.
Yeah. And I feel like because we do digital marketing for our jobs, like we're like, oh, I love the comments. Like keep them coming. Like we don't even care what people are saying. We're just like, please comment on our stuff.
Yeah, immediately we're like,
We're not
oh,
desperate.
let's not hide that. Let's just, any conversation is good conversation and it's engagement, right?
Right. And yeah, we're not desperate for engagement, but we
We like that people are thinking about
interested.
what we're talking about. And I think
Yeah.
it brought up the topic, like you said, that honestly, we never really talked about. We more so just went into the podcast from 9 to mom. You go to your 9 to 5, then you have your mom life. And I don't think it ever occurred to us to think about terminology. But
Yeah.
now that in the comment we're referencing, guys, it was about why do we use the term working mom? And I think Katie just pulled it up so she
I
can
did.
read it for
Yeah,
you.
and I think we're not calling this person out because like we have 70 followers, we can all relax.
No, it's a
but,
great
like,
topic.
But it made us think. So the comment was, why working mom? Why push the paradigm that women should not be beneath it all, working, prioritizing her family versus her own career? If we use working dad, the phrase working mom should be, if we don't use working dad, the phrase working mom should be removed from our vocabulary. And I see a lot of things like this. There are people that talk working mom, they don't like it. And that's why we ran the poll.
Yeah, and I think I know in the past I've said, well, we don't, to my husband, I don't say working dad. So why do we say, I've definitely said that in that context, but I never really thought about the term having a negative connotation to me per se. And I think there was a whole, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm drinking out of a cup that Jordan got me. It says hashtag mom life. And there was a whole, as someone in the business world, and that's a female, there was the whole boss babe, boss bitch, the whole thing around that. And I remember there was a lot of differing opinions on whether those terms should be used or not, because, I understand the piece of it shouldn't matter if we're women or not. We should be able to have careers and have humans should be able to be bosses, have careers, have kids, fly kites all day if they want to. I don't know, like whatever it is that you're looking to do. But I think the best way for us to tackle this was to go ask you guys what were your feelings on it so we could really gauge where everybody else is at. And Katie and I have the poll results. So 40% of people said that yes, the term working mom bothers them. There was 30% of people that said, no, it doesn't bother me. And then the final 30% never really thought about it. And I think that's kind of where Katie and I were, never really
one way
thought
or the
about
other.
it. So it's quite the mix, but we got on this morning and I am a little surprised at how many people it bothers. But now that I think about it, like, does it bother me? I don't know. Where's your head at, Katie?
Right. No, I agree. I was definitely surprised by the results because I don't think I've ever thought about it. And I'm definitely, like, you talked about some of the other things that give people like that ick factor, I'd say, like that
word,
boss
ick.
babe, like those kinds of things. And I can get some of that stuff. Like I hated boss babes that, like, I'm not a feminist by any mean or like down that road. But I think it kind of took me back to really brought our conversation back to why did we start doing this? And it was because we were just looking for a way to express ourselves for what we're dealing with in our situation. So by no means are we trying to change anything and say, no, working mom, like we're just all like, we want to have it all. It's, we're just trying to talk about the funny stuff that happens for people that are in our situation, because there's moms of every different situation.
Yes.
Everyone's situation's different. And the purpose of this was to talk about moms who work outside the home, have a 9-to-5 job, and then that balance between it. You say it every week in our intro. So
Yeah.
it's really, there's not, you can't stop ever. But I think a lot of people feel that way in different areas. So I can get where we could get into the conversation of working dad, why do we not use that term? But I think it goes, that's well beyond any of us at this point. That's just the way it's been forever.
Forever. And I think that's what it is. I'm a reader. So I've read a lot. And one of the books I read last year was about productivity and how the Industrial Revolution really, and this is totally off topic, guys. Sorry, I'm nerding out here. But the Industrial Revolution, and when we started having machinery come in, instead of allowing people they used to work, say, 9 to 5, instead of saying, okay, well, let's just work 9 to 3. They said, okay, how can you produce more in this small chunk of time? And that changed the trajectory of how we work. Same thing with working mom, working dad. And Katie and I were, and I say fortunate enough, or whatever. I loved having my mom home with me. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. I absolutely loved every minute of it. And she went back to work later in life. I respected her at both times for different reasons. But I think there was a lot more because it was a male-led world from a working perspective and that's the glass ceiling. Women talk about it all the time. I'm also not a feminist, but I love being a woman in business because I think it's fun to test the waters and push the envelope. So I think we never use the term working dad, but now you use the term stay at home dad. So I know some of my friends whose husbands chose to stay home because they either got paid more, were more in love with their career, or had different aspirations. And those men in that situation were called stay-at-home dads. So I went to a music class this week for Daisy, and there was one guy there with his dog. I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's the one stay-at-home. It went through my mind. He's the one stay-at-home dad.
Right.
And I work, quote unquote, I was still there. So that might not be true, A. And B, why did I think differently of him as opposed to all the women sitting in the circle with me? So I do think there's that term for them too. So now I think, I don't know if I'd want to be called a stay-at-home dad or not. But then at the same time, like you said, we never started this podcast we're going to empower the working woman. It was like, we're sitting here every week trying to figure out how to do this thing we call life with kids. And we've always both been driven and wanted to be successful, whatever that looks like. And I think it's evolved over time after having kids. What does success look like to me and look like to you? But at the end of the day, it takes a village. But you need your village to be able to give you advice and feedback. All moms are working moms. We just work in different places.
I think that's the hit right there. Everyone's a working mom, even if you're staying home, we all have jobs here. We all
They're
have
just
jobs.
different. And some are away from the kids, and some are with the kids. And it doesn't mean that one is more important than the other, or we're trying to degrade the fact. You should be able to do whatever it is you want to do. And if a term doesn't suit you or fit you, we empower you not to use that term. I'm not going to say that we won't accidentally be like working moms of America. It's a hashtag we use.
Literally a top hashtag. Yeah. So I think that's the point here is we're not going to not use it, but we're not meaning to say it in a degrading or any sort of way that may give someone the ick.
Yeah, I don't want the ick. I know the terms that give me the ick, and I'm laughing at myself because as the reader, I have all these books that are all over the place of you are a badass, the feminist fight club, whatever it may be. And I'm not a feminist, but I just think it's really cool that anybody can push the envelope or push the standard or change the view of something. So as much as we call that comment a hate comment or a negative comment, I thought it was really cool that whoever that person was came out and said that and made us think about something different. Yeah. So it's all about having those conversations and how do we navigate what we're doing right now and how do we bring value to the people we're talking to. Katie and I always say laugh with us or at us. It doesn't matter. Yeah. That's how we really started. but there have
Yep.
been some very serious conversations that we've had as well in
Yeah.
moments of
Yeah.
difficulty.
And the whole point here is we want to all relate to one another. So I think, with our situations, I feel like there's a lot of people in a similar situation to us, and that's where we're headed. Those are our people.
Yeah. And I think when you look at mom guilt, Katie and I, one of our first episodes, we talk about mom guilt and that dichotomous feeling. You go to college, you get your career, you want to be driven towards whatever it is you're doing, then all of a sudden this little beautiful thing comes out and you're absolutely in love, and I was disgusted at how much I love my children. Like, I didn't think it was humanly possible.
They make you
And
want to give it all up.
yeah, and you're torn, right? You want both, and you don't want to
Yeah.
just be 50-50 at both. You want to be
Right.
150 at both. But how do you do that? And then there's all the other responsibilities of being a mom that every mom faces, and some dads face too, but I think the mom guilt is real. Like tonight, my girlfriends are getting together to watch The Bachelor. I really, really want to go, but I also feel bad because I won't see Daisy and Colton all day. And then to go away for a few hours at night and not put them to bed, I feel bad. I shouldn't feel bad, but I do. So you have to talk, like, what do we do? Should I go? My mom's like, you need to get out of this house. Go.
Right.
And you need that. Or you need somebody to be like,
Right.
if you feel bad, just do whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter either way, but that exists.
And I think too, one of the funny things is that me and you are also in a similar season with the kids, like age group and that. And as we get into more of the shit you can't make up stories, some of our submissions this week made me think about, like, holy shit, what are we going to do when these kids are in school? And like, what are we going to do?
Colton goes to school this year. I think you should share the one. This comment comes from someone I love, and we're not going to say who it is, but the person who's telling the story is one of the greatest moms I've ever met in my entire life. And she's just, she's an inspiration for me. But the story had me literally dying because this is reality.
Yeah. And we also want more details because our little submission box, I know, has a character limit. So feel free to just DM us stories directly. The stories are just our stories meant to remind you. But this person, their kid got lunch detention in school. I don't know how old the kids are. Maybe you can shed light. But her child did not agree that they should be in detention. So instead, just got up and walked out of class and left.
Which I feel like, in a way,
how do we parent? Like, I'm not prepared to parent this.
But also, like, I don't know which child. This person has multiple children, so I don't know which child this was.
Yeah.
But if it was wrong, I mean, are you not kind of smiling inside like they stood up for themselves? But
I
like,
can't
at
even
the same
look
time,
Jack in the face right now when he like tells me no. Like, I asked him to do something, he says no, and I'm like, what? You're just not prepared. So like, I just am imagining sitting here at my desk at work because I'm recording at the office today. And I get a call from the school. Hey, your kid just walked out of detention.
Yeah, they felt like it wasn't
like, what do you
warranted.
even say?
But then you talk to your kid, and this is where my mom brain goes, and I don't know what I would do. Like, say they didn't deserve it, and they were just saying no. Like, in your mom heart, you're like, go get him, Tiger. But then respect authority. Be a respectful person, but you don't know which one it's going to be, and you've got to just start laughing. And you know this person is in the middle of 1,000 other things, and they get this phone call. What do you do? And then what? You're going to call or someone and be like, hey, I need you to watch the other kids, or I need to get out of here because I got to go pick up so
my kid walked out of school. It is so funny because I'm really curious how this is going to go for us with Ryan being a teacher, and Ryan hated school growing up. So I'm really curious how our kids are going to be. Like, Jack says every morning, he's like, Dad's going to teach the kids. Like, he knows what's going on. I'm very curious how this is going to work out for us.
Yeah, I do think that you could be in for it because there is going to be also, like, they're going to be in the same place at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
Oh, yeah.
So
these Fitzgerald boys are going to be in high school together. Like, there is a chance they could be back-to-back years in school.
which that will, and then depending on how Jack is, and this is something I would love, I know this is totally off topic of
I know.
working mom, but if the, say you have multiple children and they're close in age, and the first one is an angel at school, so good. Do they compare the second one to that, and do they have higher expectations? Or say the first one's a rebel or doesn't love the structured school environment, is the second one automatically? And school is such an interesting thing. There's so many that's a whole nother topic right now.
Oh, yeah.
School.
Oh yeah.
But I just, when there's multiple kids and they're going to go through school at similar times, do their reputations. And Joe and I were 3 years apart, and that did happen with us when we were younger. But then we went to opposite schools, and it gave us that freedom to just be Joe and Danielle, which probably was for the best.
Which was really interesting because I grew up I'm the middle of both my sisters, and we're all 2 years apart. So I was in school with both of them at the same, like I always was in school with a sibling. Yeah. And we all went to the same college. And you played soccer
with your sister at the same time. So it was just the
same, like I always had a sibling in school. I never was in a school where I didn't have a sibling that was attending that school. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, you always had backup though. Like you always had that.
There was someone, yeah.
Someone on your side.
Maybe we'll
or the opposite.
We'll get Michelle one time. Michelle's my sister, my younger sister, and we'll have to get her to come on because she is called, her nickname is Katie's little sister. Like she will her head turns for it. Like she'll be like, yep, that's
even
me.
If you're not in school together though, if your sibling, Joe and Dave went to the same high school and they're 7 years apart, and the running joke, David's friends called my brother Joe, the older one, Jesus. Which, sorry, sacrilegious, whatever. But he was Jesus, everyone, because he was a great athlete and student. And they'd always, like, some of their quotes in their yearbook were like, someday I hope to be as good as Joe, Jesus. Like, the running joke. And it was 7 years, and people were still talking about that. And
he left a little legacy for him.
He left a little legacy that poor Dave always had to deal with. But
yeah.
Dave was the one to walk out, not Joe. Dave definitely would have been like,
different.
Yeah, peace out, bro. So,
oh my God,
I get it. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with a whole new thing in that phase of life thing too. That might also change how you view certain terms and things. The longer you've been a mom, the longer you've worked in a career, the longer you've been home, whatever that is, it could influence how you feel about different terms and things of that nature. Too. And then I know the other comment we got, that you have the shit you can't make up. This is right now unbelievable. I know it happened to you. There was a weekend it happened to me, but the plight of the working mom with kids in daycare being cared for, it's unreal.
It is. And I think it's all something we can all relate, whether you are at working or you have kids at home with you. It's just the time. It
doesn't matter. They're licking doorknobs together.
For sickness. Yeah.
How many times?
So they've been to the doctor 6 times in the last 4 weeks for sicknesses.
6 times.
That's almost twice a week. And I totally relate. There's so many times that, I think I just was telling on, I don't remember which one, but like I literally was ignoring that Kelvin was sick. But like
he's fine.
They're just so often. And my sister's going through it too with her son. Like they're just sick all the time. And how do you work around that?
Yeah, you're so right,
constantly calling you to come pick up your kid.
Come pick up your kid. And then I know, like, my sister-in-law, she is home with both kids, but they go to 2 different school, daycare kind of situation. Yep. And because each one's licking different doorknobs, then they're just getting each other sick. And now it's not just, oh, I'm pulling you out of preschool. Right. I'm pulling you out of kindergarten. Right. So you don't want to, there's rules, I guess. Who knew? There's rules for how many days they need to be in. So then there's that anxiety of what do I do? And you sit there and you're like, how is this even possible? How's this even possible?
How are you still sick? What can you get next? How can you possibly still be getting something?
It's unbelievable.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
That I feel like every single person who's listening to this, male, female, parent or not parent, they know somebody who's been dealing with that or have dealt with it themselves. It's unbelievable. Yeah, the stories are good, guys. Keep them coming because I think they keep us laughing and it adds a little bit to our day to make us feel less alone. That was the idea
Absolutely.
of the podcast, feeling less alone.
Right.
And we appreciate every person in the community that's participating or responding or engaging, because we didn't want to feel alone. We hope that you guys don't feel alone. And I think also we encourage anybody listening to challenge what we're saying. That's the whole point. We're not experts. We're just in it right this minute. So if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, if you want to challenge the status quo, please do it. It keeps us on our toes. It keeps us thinking. And I don't know if the term working mom is good, bad, or indifferent. Clearly the split was almost perfectly down the middle. I think that the important thing is that everybody respects each other and respects the feelings they have towards that. And at the end of the day, we deserve, as human beings, but especially as women, in my opinion, we deserve everything we want in life. It might be hard at anybody working towards a goal, male, female, anything. Any person goes through challenges and struggles. And I don't look at motherhood as a challenge, but it presents a set of opportunities that you need to work through to get where you want to go. And I just hope that everybody has the support system they need.
You're so positive this morning. I love it.
Yeah. That's the point, though. I'll cry in an hour. You know that. I'll call you in an hour with tears in my eyes.
Peaks and valleys, guys. But it's time for us to clock out. We will see you guys next time.
Bye, everyone.